A parasite about 700 miles south of the United States border just killed a 70-year-old American business and triggered a billion-dollar crisis that's about to make your beef more expensive. Most people think cattle shortages are just about drought or overgrazing problems. But right now, the biggest threat to American beef isn't even in America. It's a fly the size of a housefly laying eggs in cow wounds in southern Mexico, and it just shut down the entire Southwest cattle feeding industry. I've been tracking USDA border closure data, analyzing feedlot bankruptcy filings, and interviews with ranchers who've had significant losses in their cattle business in the last year and a half. And the numbers are staggering. Over 1 million head of cattle that used to cross north annually just disappeared overnight. Today, I'm breaking down 4 things. The invisible parasite that we eradicated from American soil 60 years ago, the shocking reason Southwest feedlots can't survive without Mexican cattle, the $1 billion economic domino effect that's already started, and the one thing that could save or destroy what is left of the industry. Here is what most people don't understand about American cattle feeding industry. The entire Southwest industry was built on a foundation that doesn't exist anymore. Lubbock Feeders, a 50,000 head operation that had been feeding cattle since 1955, just announced its closure after 70 years. Not because they ran out of money, not because of regulations, but because they ran out of cattle. For decades, 60 to 70% of Southwest feedlot inventory came from Mexico. That's not a backup supply, that's the primary business model. Here is how it worked. Mexican ranchers raised calves cheap. United States feedlots buys them as feeders, young cattle not yet ready for slaughter. They will truck them north through border crossings like Santa Teresa and Douglas, fatten them up on American corn for 90 to 120 days, then send them to American packing plants. More than 1 million head crossed north annually. For West Texas and Arizona feedlots, it was the entire operation. Without those Mexican cattle, American feedlots can't fill their pens. And when feedlots can't fill pens, packing plants can't fill processing lines. Tyson Foods already cut to a single shift at its Amarillo beef plant in November 2025, just 2 hours from Lubbock Feeders. This isn't just one feedlot closing. It's the beginning of an infrastructure collapse. But why did those cattle stop crossing? That's where this story gets terrifying. In the 1960s, the United States spent billions eradicating a parasite called New World Screwworm. It worked. For 60 years, this thing didn't exist north of Panama, until 2023. New World Screwworm isn't like a tick or a mosquito. It's a fly that lays eggs directly in open wounds on living animals. The larvae burrow into living flesh, feeding on healthy tissue, causing massive damage and often death. Calves are especially vulnerable. Umbilical wounds and birthing injuries create perfect entry points during calving season. Here is what makes this parasite unstoppable once it crosses a border. One female can lay 400 eggs. Those eggs hatch in 24 hours. The larvae mature in a week. Do the math. Exponential growth in a livestock population. The United States eradicated it in the 1960s using something called sterile insect technique. They bred billions of sterilized male flies and dropped them from airplanes. The sterile males mated with wild females, producing no offspring. Eventually, the population collapsed. It worked so well that for 60 years, the United States and Panama maintained a biological barrier at the Darien Gap between Panama and Colombia, dropping millions of sterile flies over jungle areas to prevent northward spread. But in 2023, something changed. Detections in Panama surged from around 25 cases annually to more than 6,500. Then Costa Rica. By November 2024, it reached southern Mexico. By September 2025, the closest case was just 70 miles from the Texas border. The USDA shut the border in November 2024, then reopened it briefly in February 2025 with strict protocols, then shut it again in May 2025. And here is the nightmare scenario. If this parasite crosses into Texas, it won't just kill cattle. It'll trigger quarantines that could shut down the entire United States beef export market. USDA estimates that preventing screwworm has saved the US cattle industry $2.3 billion annually. One fly, one wound, one border crossing. That's all it takes. So the border stays closed. But closing the border to protect American cattle is also destroying American cattle feeders. And the economic damage has already started spreading like the parasite itself.